It's the 2-7 matchup in the East, and so far it's looked like the 2-7 matchup in the East. Jayson Tatum's got 21. Boston is led by as many as 23. And at the half, it's a 64-46 count. Celtics leading the Sixers. It's a halftime report presented by Kia. Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal. Talking in the pregame show about teams that play good defense, and if you're not having a great offensive day, the defense will always be there. Celtics are having a good day offensively and defensively.
Yeah, that's what separates them. I think the the Pistons and OKC, they play great defense. But the Celtics are only one of those teams that are heavily relied on the three. If they're making threes, they pretty much, they're tough for anybody to beat. But they play great defense. But this, to me, man, that was a boring half. That was like a scrimmage. I mean, they just out there screwing around right now because they don't worry about the Sixers. And the Sixers kind of just playing basketball. It's not like they have a strategy. But that just looked like a scrimmage to me.
Boston holding Philly to 33% shooting in the first half and 2 out of 16 from deep. The halftime highlights presented by Kia. Going to look at the offensive side of the ball at this point. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown combining for 31. And just keep this in mind. When the Celtics have a 20-point lead, they're 36-0. Kenny the Jet Smith, you get to go first.
Yeah, I want to ask Chuck.
Off of your defeat from last night.
Yes.
Yeah, Chuck,
I'm not running.
Chuck is a good look one. Chuck's the ugly one.
Chuck, would you add San Antonio to that group of play defense?
They play a little bit different. They funnel everything down to Victor. I think that they got a very good defensive team.
Vassell and Castle.
Yeah, they're all good defenders, but they funnel everything to Victor. That's the only thing that's different.
I wasn't going to run, but now.
You win, man. You win. I can't. Yeah. There's no way I can turn, get there, and he's already straight.
I'm looking at Chuck's and all I see is your eye looking over here.
Come on, man. I'm not going. I'm not running. I'm not running Sunday. I don't run on Sunday mornings.
Well, you going to church?
Yes, indeed. I'm going to church right here. But if you want to run,
listen, you know what? We're not going to listen to the Pope anymore. We're going to listen to Sam Jackson and Pulp Fiction.
All right, say less. But I'll tell you this. When you talk about the offense and the threes, what one of the most underrated things about this is they don't just stick to the three. So freeze it here. You think he's coming off to shoot a three, and you step up hard. When you step up hard, what happens? He gets to the rim. Jayson Tatum is saying, no, I'm not just a three-point shooter. I'm not going to rely on it. And so same thing with Jaylen Brown. All of a sudden, you get this flare screen. You think this is a wide-open three. You get there. He's like, no, I'm going to take my time because I see, freeze it here. I see that there was nothing in the middle. Andre Drummond is too far. He's playing in a no-man's land. So once I get by Paul George, it's going to be an easy rain to the basket. Forget the three. Let me get a dunk. And that's what separates these two superstars from anything else is that they will go to the basket and change up the dynamic and get easy ones. And that's why Boston is really, really good.
Shooting 50% in the first half, by the way, 21-0 when they shoot 50% in a game. Now, what goes along with that is the ability to share the ball.
Yeah, another thing that makes Boston a good team is they have no wasted dribbles. You know, they move the ball very well. Every roll of tape right here, listen, they're calling the play, the high pick and roll right there. Guy rolls hard, gives him the ball, card right there.
Watch your head, boy.
Read and react right there. I'm not wasting a dribble. I'm not wasting another dribble. Oh, triangle offense right there. Boom, turn around, Scottie Pippen. Right here. One pass, another pass. Like I said, no wasted dribbles right there. We take the shot. And right here, everybody eats, Ernie. We're at home. My main man, Lukey Dookie for three.
Lukey Dookie.
Lukey Dookie for three. Yeah, like they don't, mess around, put it between your legs. They just get it. We don't have the shot.
And Ernie,
we move the ball.
One thing wasn't talked about at the trade deadline is them getting Vucevic.
Right.
I think that was a great pickup. He's going to help them going forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's hurt for a while, but now he is back in time for the playoff run. A business-like first 24 minutes for the Celtics, who lead it by 18.
That's exactly right, Mr. P. Michael Green. That was so boring. Thank God for hockey.
All right, we'll get you started in Boston and then head to Oklahoma City for the Suns and the Thunder. Welcome to day 2 of the playoffs, an NBA tip-off presented by AT&T. Ernie Johnson here in Atlanta, Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith and Charles Barkley, primed for a big day of hoops.
Let me tell you something. As a guy who was blessed to play for the Sixers, anytime we played the Celtics, it was a really big deal. I cannot wait for this series to start.
But y'all were terrible when y'all played.
No, we weren't terrible. We were not terrible.
You weren't what?
Terrible.
Terrible. There you go. We had an early one.
You were terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you had that Dr. Dave.
Did you win? No, so you were terrible.
We won sometimes. We win all the time.
You sound like a 3-year-old. We won sometimes, Daddy.
No, but it was always intense.
Yeah.
It was always intense.
And you think the same in this time around, too?
I do not think that.
There will not be intensity in this playoff series?
It's going to be an ass-kicking coming. That's what's going to happen.
All right.
Quick and fast.
Way to build it up. It wasn't expected to be a number 2 seed in the East kind of season in Boston, but Jaylen Brown had a career year, and Jayson Tatum has come back from an Achilles tear. And now in the eyes of many, the Celtics are the favorites to come out of the East. The first round brings the Sixers, who opened the season with a win in Boston, and now hope to start the playoffs the same way. George Sedano is going to be working the sidelines in Game 1. We check in with him now. George?
Hey, EJ. Good to have you guys aboard, and thank you for having me on the show today. So let's talk about what I discussed earlier today, if that's okay with you, with Joe Mazzulla. We talked specifically about Jayson Tatum, and I asked him, are there any markers that he needs to hit, now that the postseason is here? Because there's a different level of intensity, as we all know, when it comes to the postseason. And he said, absolutely. Look, during the regular season, we wanted to see a couple of different things. We wanted to make sure that he played heavy minutes at some point, that he played about 40 minutes, and he did that a couple of different times, played 39, 40 minutes in a couple of different games. He also wanted to see if he could play a whole 12-minute stretch in a quarter, and he was able to do that. So they feel confident in where he's at right now from a conditioning standpoint, and they feel the shot will come around. He's not a 41% shooter. They expect him to be even better this postseason.
Hey, on the Philadelphia side, any word? I know Joel Embiid's dealing with the appendicitis, and is there any indication from Nick Nurse on when we might see him, if we are going to see him in the first round?
Unfortunately, EJ, it doesn't look like we'll see him anytime soon because he's still dealing with the recovery from that surgery. And when we asked him about a potential return during this series, he said they're not ruling it out. But again, this is something that's still kind of touch and go. He hasn't even started basketball activity, Ernie.
George Sedano, thanks for the information. We appreciate it. We look forward to Game 1 of this series. And Kenny, if you stick your big old head in my shot,
I dropped my pen,
there's going to be trouble.
My pen,
there's going to be trouble. Let's move on, shall we? You don't find that amusing, Chuck?
I do. I mean, but his head's always been big. Just normally in his own shot. Normally in a single shot.
I thought it was an eclipse for a second.
Some of us have big heads, and some of us have big-headed.
Hey, you know what? I'm impressed by the Boston Celtics' consistency in a season in which Jayson Tatum did not play until late in the year. Look at this. Okay, second in the East, second offensive rating, fourth in defensive rating, all same as last year, just a little bit slower pace, and then Jayson Tatum only playing in 16 games. Why were the Celtics able to do this in what was supposed to be an off year?
Because they had another guy, because of circumstances, he was placed as number 2, but we forget that he was the finals MVP, and he played